Hey everybody, I just wanted to check in with you as we're getting ready to turn in the bibliographies or the long list of sources for the final project. So today is the second day of Unit 5. That means that we're almost done, believe it or not. 2 weeks goes quick, even though it is intensive. So please do remember that any and all work has to be submitted by this coming Sunday, the 1st of September at noon. I have to get grades submitted as soon as I possibly can, and then fall classes, of course, start on Tuesday. So enjoy one day off for Labor Day. Hopefully you get a little bit more time than that. In terms of the final project, I wanted to just remind everyone that the project you'll be creating on Adobe Spark is essentially an annotated bibliography. So you've been given the source types that you need to locate in the instructions for the final project. I think almost everyone has turned in a topic and research question, so I think we're in pretty good shape in terms of having something that we're all working on. So what you'll need to find then are a primary source, just one, for the purpose of this assignment. If you happen to find more, that's okay, but you will still need to find the other kinds of sources as well. So the primary source, then you'll need to have 2 academic secondary sources. Then you'll need to have 2 or 3 other other secondary sources, not academic, for those other 2 or 3, and then social media sources. So stepping back to the academic secondary sources, those are peer-reviewed journal articles that you can find using the CNM Library's SunCat One search feature. There's a box on the left hand when you do a search that you can click for peer review. You can also click to have things that are only full text available so that you can make sure that you'll be able to get the entire article digitally for the purposes of the project. So please do use those search filters. Those will help a lot. Also, you can do a Google Books search, so just books.google.com for your topic. And if you find books that are published by university presses, those have been peer-reviewed and they're also considered academic sources. The peer review is the big determiner for an academic source. Now, academics do write blog posts. They do publish in other forums online, but they're not necessarily publishing something that has been peer-reviewed. So for the academic sources, I'd really like you to try to find something, again, that's either been peer-reviewed or that is published by a university library, university press. And if you find a book on Google Books, generally, depending on the book, but generally you should be able to get enough of a digital preview of the book to complete the assignment. So you won't have to check the book out, find it physically. You can just read what you need on Google Books online. You can also do keyword searches within the books using Google Books, so that's helpful as well, especially since we're on such a short timetable for our class. So please leverage all of those kinds of search filters and digital tools to your advantage. Sorry, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Hopefully I don't. Okay. Otherwise, then you need to have 2 to 3 other secondary sources. Those can be articles published online that are not academic. They can come from sources like Smithsonian or Scientific American, or the State Historian's Office, the NewMexicoHistory.org site. Those are all excellent secondary sources that are not peer-reviewed, so they're not necessarily seen as academic. There's kind of a fine line there, but that's the distinction that we're making for our purposes. Then the social media sources, those, if you can't find any, don't worry about that. Just say, I couldn't find any social media sources for my particular topic. The whole idea there is just for you to see if people are talking about your topic on social media, and if so, what are they saying? Are they saying things that are credible? Are they saying things that are relevant? Are they saying things that fit with the academic and other sources that you found? Or are people having a conversation kind of off in left field about your particular topic on social media? And so it's a way of kind of gauging and evaluating what people are are talking about in places like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc. So that's what you're doing for the final project in terms of locating the sources. All you need to submit by tonight is a list of those sources, just a bibliography. You don't need any annotations, just an entry for each source. Please give me more than just a link. You need to have the publication information so that I can tell what the source is without having to click on the link, if that makes sense. Okay, then finally, when you're getting ready to complete your work on Spark, if you have any questions about using Spark, let me know. I'll do my best to help out with that. It is pretty intuitive, more intuitive than some of the other things that we use, so that's good. Be as creative as you'd like with it in terms of embedding images, in terms of how you organize things. What you will need to do, though, is for each of your sources, you'll need to write a paragraph that addresses 3 things. First, you'll need to tell us what the source is about in general. Then you'll need to tell us how and why, in specific terms, you judged that source to be credible. So was it because of the author's background, the author's credentials and expertise in the area? Was it because it was published at a reputable site like pbs.org? Was it because it was peer-reviewed? So on and so on. So let us know what it was about that source that made you find it credible, and then how is it relevant to your project? So the last part of that paragraph should explain how that source helped you to answer your research questions. And then to begin and end your Spark annotated bibliography, you should write an introductory paragraph, a paragraph that just lets us all know what topic you've chosen, what questions you're interested in, and then that states your thesis. For this project, your thesis is a direct answer to your question. So now that you've done all the research, what's the answer to your question? You'll use that answer, that thesis, to tie all of your annotations together. That'll be the thread that unites all of them, and then you'll write a conclusion at the end. So please do take advantage of the examples that are linked to in the final project instructions. They give you a good sense of what to do as well. And please let me know, as always, if you have any questions.